Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Guys, the tinfoil hats are on right now. Is there a new shard coming to Raid Shadow Legends? I actually think that it's very, very likely. I need to give a huge shout out. I was literally just, browsing through YouTube today, and I saw this video from JGix. So this is 100% from him. Someone on his Discord posted this picture. So I'll link this video down below. You can go check out his thoughts as well. I recommend that you do. Tell him I sent you. Tell him I said hello. All of that stuff. But yeah, someone from his Discord screenshotted one of the ads for Raid Shadow Legends, right? And as he says in his video, these ads, they're not always super accurate. They're not always made, by the developer. In fact, they're mostly not made by the developers of the game. They've got some really good ads, really good quality ads, with like Jeff Goldblum and everything. They've got a lot of really bad ads as well. But this came up in one of the ads. A red shard. A red shard. And this could be just a mistake. It could be. But to me, there's a couple too many coincidences here for this to not be real. Now, the main thing going on, by the way, I thought this was hilarious. Back today, the privilege pack. You only get this offer once, so don't miss it. Which is kind of crazy, because I feel like I was offered this pack a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't buy it, obviously. Seems to be back with Helior with no helmet, by the way. We could do another, let me know if you want another tinfoil hat video. I think a very strong possibility this year is the possibility of champion skins. More on that later. But I think when we jump into the HYDRA clan boss, what do we have in the HYDRA? Stuff is loading weirdly. What do we have in the HYDRA? Well, we're all familiar with our blue gear, our purple gear, our yellow gear, orange gear, rare, epic, and legendary. I guess it's in protection where I have it. Yeah, protection. Here we go. What is this? Mythical gear. Mythical gear, which is red. Mythical gear, which is red. Mythical gear, which is basically legendary gear, but better. Like this shield, it's basically... Oh, I'm in the way. It's basically pre-rolled with an extra roll of crit rate, right? It is a step up. It is a step beyond. It's a step more. And the fact that we have this red shard and we've got this red mythical gear, I'm scared. I'm all aboard this, guys. I think this is 100% legit. I think it's very likely coming this year. This also answers for me, well, I guess one of the questions would be, two questions would be, what are mythical shards and where will we get them? Let's talk about where will we get them first. It's one of the little lies I think people like to tell themselves. Do you think people are self-deluding with this? But people love to say, as soon as I get Mithrala Lifebane from HYDRA, I'm done with HYDRA. I'm never doing HYDRA again. Goodbye, HYDRA's over. They need to add more loot to HYDRA. I think that's a real self-delusion. I really do. I think, after having done HYDRA so many times to get Mithrala, I think, yeah, you might not push for a higher difficulty. You might be content just doing the ones that you've beaten. But I think you'll have beaten all the rotations on a given difficulty a couple of times by the time that you get her, most likely, for most players. I think you're just going to keep doing it. And I think, I really don't see a raid player going, will I just send a team in on auto on normal or hard or whatever and get some stone skin, get some protection gear at the very least. I just don't see that happening. But either way, I do think when they add the higher difficulties of the HYDRA, which we know are coming, we know there's more difficulties coming. We know it. They've said it. There's going to be multiple phases. I think they said there's going to be 3 more difficult. We're up to Nightmare right now. I think there's going to be Ultra Nightmare, and then there's going to be 2 difficulties beyond that. There's going to be even more difficulties, which is going to be terrifying, right? So difficult. How could we take it on? Mythical shards, mythical heroes, perhaps? How can we take it on? But yeah, I think this could be the source of these mythical shards. Could be. What if these higher levels of HYDRA, what if they give you a chance every single week, a low chance, to get a mythical shard? There you go. Would you do HYDRA then to get a mythical shard? What would a mythical shard be? I think there's a couple of things it could easily be. I think the most straightforward thing would be a guaranteed legendary hero. I think that's the most straightforward thing, right? It's just better than a sacred, just 100% chance you are going to get a legendary. So you could pull it straight away and get your legendary. Perhaps they might do events at some point where it'd be, 10 times chances with your mythical shard. I don't know if they'll do that straight away, but I think that's a pretty straightforward possibility. And since it's so straightforward, it might be the most likely possibility. Just you get a legendary, boom. I think it's probably about, what is it? About I've never really bought anything much apart from the gem pack. How much is like a sacred? I think a sacred is generally valued at around like, I don't know. I think it's something around $25 or $30. I could be wrong about that. Like here it's £26, Great British pounds for this stuff. But this is a pretty good value pack, I think. I'm not sure, actually. I could be talking out my arse. I have no clue, lads. But they could easily put in this shard for like 200. Imagine they sold this shard very, very rarely for $200. $250, maybe even $300, get a guaranteed legendary. The whales would buy it. Of course they're going to buy it. People will buy it. I think that's very likely to do it, but keep it like a rare, a rare tantalizing thing that you can't always get. And a good reason as well to go into HYDRA, right? Your mythical shards. Low chance to get them, but when you do get them, you're going to be very happy. I think another possibility for what a mythical shard could be or could do, I do think there's a strong possibility as well, something that could be coming this year. They've talked about this new dungeon. I think they even did a preview of a potential boss for the new dungeon, which was like a sort of robot with two sides that would like spin around. And they talked about another way to upgrade your heroes, to upgrade your champions, which would be something similar to Ascension. I think that's quite possible that could be something like turning your heroes mythical. I think that's a possibility that could come in, which much like this mythic gear, which is, just slightly better than legendary gear, I think there's a possibility that there could be, this, let's say a new dungeon with something like, again, weekly keys, like limited keys, and you could go in and get whatever mythic resources for a given faction and then turn one of your champions from that faction upgrade them to mythic, where they might get a new effect even on it could be a substantial thing, like when you ascend a champion and one of their abilities changes. I could easily see them adding in a mythic type upgrade to champions along those lines, where they either get a new ability, a new passive entirely, or the functionality of one of their abilities changes. Like a pretty big deal. And mythic shards could tie into that, which is like, yeah, you pull a legendary champion, but maybe they're already mythic, right? They've already been upgraded to that mythical level, effectively Ascension level 7 or whatever it might be. I think that's also very possible. I also do think it's very likely as well that we will see level 30 dungeons probably at some point this year, which will give access to mythical gear. Even would not be shocked if those dungeons maybe prevented seers from working, to give more emphasis to like bomb and hex champions and those different sort of metas. Maybe even Doom Tower Nightmare difficulty, where you could see some of that stuff coming in as well. And I think this also, it addresses the question of, well, my goodness, like how many of you guys are even close to Nightmare HYDRA? It's pretty damn hard. Right? How the heck are we going to do Ultra Nightmare and even 2 difficulties beyond that? That just seems almost impossible. I think if we can either massively upgrade our champions' stats by upgrading them to mythical quality, or anything like that, I think that you could, that would be a way to deal with these new difficulties of HYDRA. If there's this further way to massively power up your champions, this big sort of power creep type thing in the game, I think it's very likely to happen. I actually do think as well that there is another option as well. Which is that we could have just an entire new rarity of champion added to the game, a mythical champion. And this could even go along with this mythical shard. It could go along with it that these would be super rare. They could possibly only be gotten from these mythical shards. Really, really rare that you get them. And maybe there's like strict limitations, like you can only use them like a couple of times a week or something like that. Like there's limited uses on a mythical champion, so that the very few people that get them don't completely overpower people at the start. I don't know. I probably wouldn't bother them though, to be fair. But I think it's possible, a mythical champion. So something on the lines of your sacred shard right now, whatever your chance is, 6% for a legendary, you could have a mythical shard, which is 94% chance of a legendary. and a 6% chance of a mythical champion, which would be like another level of awesome. I think as well, seeing as we're coming up to the end of the Romantu missions, like a lot of people getting close to finishing them now, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point later this year we saw another set of missions, and I could easily see them putting that as the thing at the end, a mythical champion, right? When they're introduced to the game, you will all get one, guaranteed, albeit at the end of another, like, probably years worth of missions for most people, you get a mythical champion. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think... I think it's pretty likely. I think it's pretty likely that we'll see at least some of these ideas coming in. The fact that we now have mythical gear from HYDRA, I think the addition of mythical shards makes a whole lot of sense. I'll even go a step further and say that I could see them adding as well. I think Jay Giggs mentioned it. Again, make sure to check out his video. I think he mentioned it in his, that he's surprised that there's not a sacred shard equivalent of the void shard. I also think that is something that could come maybe around this time next year even, and that might be tied in. Hey, look at it, the Great Void, huh? Yeah, I mean, I could easily see there being something like, I don't know, Abyss shards, which can drop from the Great Void clan boss, which are sacred shard equivalents of void shards. Really, really powerful. I could easily see that as being the thing that draws people in, you know, because they've got to know that people are going like, man, Demon Lord is great because I can get my sacred shards, all my shards drop from there. I think if they add mythical shards to HYDRA and then like potentially Abyss shards in the future from Great Void, I think that's like that's a gold mine that they'll be all too happy to mine. That's what I think. But yeah, guys, listen, let me know if this came out. Would you be hyped? Would you be put off? What would you think? I think it'd be a pretty cool idea. You know, maybe throw us an old free mythical shard for the Christmas gift. Upgrade that sacred to a mythical. Probably asking too much, but you never know. Guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.